Greetings, everybody. This is Jeff Scott. It is on a historic day, March 11th, 3:26 p.m. Let's do an intraday update. I'm going to set it, enable intraday options, Thinkorswim, which is open down here. And then what I'm going to do here, instead of doing the update here, which will be just price bars, I'm going to do the update here. I'm going to do my complete update. So I'm starting it at 327. Let's hit start. While that's doing that, I'll do a couple of different things. Let's make sure it connects to Thinkorswim. This has been to put it mildly, a remarkable day. It's bizarre. I'll just put it that way. I mean, it's bizarre how the market and everything else have been today. Boy, we're pricing in a pretty rough market. I think we're pricing in the television show Outbreak or Contagion, actually. But it's hard to fight the Fed and fight the tape rather. And how low will this market go? And just to be clear, I do this. I'm a volunteer educator. I am not a broker. I don't have Series 7s or any of those things. And anything I say is for educational purposes only. Anything I recommend is in the spirit of education, not investment advice. I'm a doctor, not a broker. I'm independent, and trading involves risk, and you alone are solely responsible. One thing I like watching during the day is here's TradeStation, and just to give you a sense of where we are in the market. We opened up here-ish. And we have come down hard the entire day. We're maybe bouncing in the last half hour, but we've seen that a few times this week where we have a pretty big move in the last half hour. But every one of these that have started over the last couple of hours quickly fails. We keep getting lower, so I'm not going to count on that saving the day. Basically, let's look at my TC2000 while we're running the HGSI update. This is not a bad thing to do, by the way. I do this whenever I'm free at about 3:30 every day because it gives me a chance to see if there's something I might want to do to position size for the morning. To be honest, right now, I've got very few longs in the money left. I've got long volatility, which I may cover before the end of the day, and a few other contra ETFs that I've been saving my bacon, and then I've got puts on my big positions, as I've been saying for quite some time. Let's just go over into the my base report, and I always bang through, to use a term some other people use, TNX-X 10-year bonds. All right, yes, they bumped up a little bit today. They are at 8.82. That's an improvement. We're at all-time lowish range. We've bounced up from earlier the week. TYX-X 30-year bonds. We are at 1.308. Great time to have refinanced your house. Again, historical lows. The spread between the 210 has been getting wider this week. No reason to think that that's changed today. I've covered one of my shorts. Now, next thing I like to look at are stocks above the moving average or the AD line on the big stocks. And you could see if I switch to big stocks here, which won't look anything different than the S&P 500. So I'll look at the Russell 1000, and you could see AD rolled over, and you could see how the market is rolled over. Are we getting to a point here where maybe we should be reversing? Hence why I just covered one of my shorts. I'm not convinced, though. We look at small stocks. Let me change that to IWM from the IWB. Same thing, rollover, big pullback on the small stocks. These have been the big losers. In fact, unlike the other major indices, the small stocks have not taken out their prior highs. Let me change that back to the S&Ps, which I like to use as my base there. I like to look at the percentage of the stocks above their 240-day moving averages. Again, we are at a point, this is where we ended Friday. We have further dropped, and we are rapidly approaching the numbers for 0809. We are due a reversal, whether it reverses and goes much higher or it's just slows down the drop, we're getting close. You can see stocks above the 40 again, down to those levels last seen in 2008, 2009. All right, next thing I like to look at is a 2121, which is a 13-week new high, new low, and we are at 0.26. That basically says there's no new highs in this market in the last 3 months compared to new lows, and we've come down from the weekend, which was the green, and again, in what is typically for me been a reversal zone. Doesn't mean it's going to reverse this time. If I look at the NYSE AD line, you'll see that this has rolled over as well, and all the major market ETFs, except for the TLT, hard to see here. The only one that's moved up has been the TLT. Everything else is cratering. Okay, so, and then I like to look at my daily high-low jump scan, and you could see here there's about 5,000 stocks I scan, and just under 2,000 of these stocks are triggering the high jump bar, which means they've gotten below the green line. Of that group, 64, which has come down as the day have gone, have reversed with a green candle low. So to say this market is beat up and awful, understatement, but perhaps it's getting to a point where it's going to reverse. And, well, that's kind of this is on the diamonds. You know, it's been one heck of a day. I think there's no other way to say that. And anybody that was very long going in the day is having some regrets. Yeah, we bounced. It's down only 1339 now. So maybe we're going to improve a little bit. That's actually 300 points or so off the lows, which sounds like a big day. But we'll see. I'm for one, not one that trusts this market any further than I could throw it. For whatever reason, my trade station lags a little bit, probably because I have too many things on there. All right, HGSI is done. So it's been 7 minutes. I don't know how many minutes it's been done for, but that shows you how fast I could do a complete update. We've only been doing this for 7 minutes. I start with, thanks to Ron Brown, who created these, the market analysis user groups. I go into Major Markets Plus. I'm going to put T1 top-down view. I hit the warehouse, opens it up. I find my T1 view, and then I sort by raw combo. And the first thing I see for today, shocking alert, is that the lead is in volatility. It's up today 17%, 75% in 5 days. At some point, we're going to get a ferocious rally. It's just not today, although, again, we've had a bit of a recovery here in the last 30 minutes like we've seen before. The dollar has been strong. That reminds me that cash is a position. It's been flat on the week. Everything else has been down. If you look at mid caps, small caps, even large caps, they're down 5, 6, 7% today. If you look at last 5 days, we've reached getting bear markets in 5 days alone. So the markets have been hammered. You know that. If we open up some of these, let's take a quick look at the S&P 500. So you might be asking yourself, what are these gray lines? They're called the bingo. We see those with the market sell-offs are so bad, you get the baby out with the bathwater. Now we want to see something like a Eureka, which is a green bar, or some kahunas come in, and a up day and a follow-through day, so we can get the feeling that this market is done falling. As I told one of my friends, it is very hard to catch a falling knife. We have taken out the prior lows for Monday. How low does this go? Here's the 1,000-day moving average. Here's the 500-day moving average. Heaven help us if we go through and continue to break down. We've blown through today 2 of the stops that I thought it might have been reasonable places. We were actually held at this level for some time before the end of the day. Again, we've got a long ways to go, at least on this index, to get to the 2018 lows. Very quickly, just to give you a sense of where we are. Now, for those that don't know about the updating, if you're hooked up to Thinkorswim, You just hit F5 on your computer and you'll see this lovely line open up. Maybe. All right. Well, that didn't open, of course. Never happens when you ask it to. You can update using F5. You have to, oh, I probably haven't, let's try this again. Control. Can never figure out on this keyboard how to make the F5 work. It's, well, with hitting the F5, you even update the quotes more recently. I'm going to skip that for right now and not bother with it. So I'm going to put this line up here, line, red line. I'm going to go from the highs down to where we are right now. And we are down 20%. We're in bear market territory on the S&P 500. I'm not being exact. I'm just trying to do it quickly. Dow Jones Industrials, same exact pattern. Looks horrible. Interestingly, the PMC's turned up. Hard to believe that. It is pulled into that 1,000-day moving average. Last time I put those on my chart or saw them pop up was 2008, 2009. Down here, I went too far, over 20%. The Dow is in bear territory. If I look at the NASDAQ composite, which had been behaving, it is broken down to its 500 daily moving average. Yeah, I'm crazy for looking at those, but interesting that they're hitting them. Down just about 20%. And then the Russell, which I'd mentioned before, never took out its 2018 highs. This is when I did this earlier today. Well, I could probably kill that one. Kill it again. And do it again. Because now it's to 26.5%. Ferocious drop. You expect snapbacks and some profit taking on the shorts. I'm still worried about this market until we see some stabilization in the coronavirus. What has been working? Well, I mentioned putting your money in cash isn't a bad idea. I think I've got the biggest cash position I can remember right now. And you could see here that the dollar actually had a positive day. Look at Monday. Awful day for the dollar. And the dollar gave a hammer there. What a signal there to go long. The dollar popped. The dollar is strong, stronger than anything I've shown you thus far. Well, you want to see strong. Here's volatility. And something that I looked at today is how does this compare with the past? If I drop a monthly chart, we are still well below the peaks in the volatility from the era around 2007, 2008. But we are taking out intraday volatility highs all the way since 2008. At some point, that's going to reverse, and when it reverses, you don't want to be holding some of these stretched out volatility instruments. I'm actually in the process of closing out one of those trades as we speak. Gold, I mentioned. Let's go back. Well, we'll leave it on. Gold has had a big run here. This is a monthly chart. Looks kind of good on a monthly chart. Of course, the monthly chart's missing all the fun it had to get here. Now it's a daily chart. Looks the same way. That's weird. Let me see that. Is that right? Yeah. Interesting. So the daily chart, gold looks pretty good. Nice breakout here. Mobile breakout from a squeeze a couple days earlier. It's kind of consolidating here, maybe setting up a bit of a, if I want to overdo it, and you have, a little bit of a wedge forming there. What I don't like is that silver is not performing well. So silver is below the 200 and gold miners look a lot more like silver. So Nugget, for example, got hammered today. So that's my quick view of the markets. We are due an oversold bounce. Whether we get one today, tomorrow, I don't know. I knew on the weekend we'd get one. We got one Tuesday, and we already sold off more than we bounced today. What a depressing sign that has been. Just taking a quick look here, make sure that nothing else on my holdings I got to be jumping up and down and changing. Okay, we're steady there. Now I'm going to take a look at a couple other things. Next thing I typically do is I go into the industry groups, and I've been just going through here today, highlighting industry groups. I don't want to modify it. Thank you. And then I hit warehouse, and you could see I've got 175. If I look at groups that have made their move in the last 2 days up, I've got one group. It's medical devices. It's one stock. Now it's two. Code Diagnostics Inc. They are, I don't know what they do. I bet they got something to do with coronavirus, and you could see they had a big pop today, a Bible gap up, Kahuna, Pocket Pivot. You buy these things at your own risk. It doesn't make money. It's a story stock. God bless you. If you get out at the right time, you make a lot of money. In my experience, they like to do round trips. I don't chase these. For some people, you might. Now, Massimo is a different story. This is a longer standing big company, lots of revenue. And it today's got a mobile breakup from a squeeze, a Kahuna Pocket Pivot. It's got very nice person market catcher. I would have nothing against buying something like this here. It's a very expensive stock. If I look at stocks that have had a 5-day period of time they've been up, not stocks, industry groups, there are none. That's not possible, is it? Yep, we've lost the 5-day. Earlier today we had medical devices and marine shipping made this category. I mean, it's just telling you how god-awful this day has been. This week, frankly, this month. If I look at the forced 2-day down, you can see I got 36 groups have entered it, including some of our favorite semis, internet broad services, casinos, and gaming. And if I look at a longer period of time frame, 5 days down, I've got 97. So you see from a top-down perspective, there's very little to go long here. Maybe that Massimo and the markets being so extremely oversold, I get nervous about putting on new shorts. Now, that is the end of my top-down approach. It's now 348. So 34, so I've put actually 343. So I've been, that's a 9 months, 9 minutes of an analysis. Now, what I do as well is I want to go into securities, but I've actually created a file, all securities, $2 and 250,000 shares. That's the one that I'm going to fish in. I'm going to go up to the John Person set, which is a separate add-on that you have to purchase. And the way I use this, since I don't want to be buying new bearish positions, is there anything bullish daily? There's 3 stocks that made it to the daily list. Now, 2 of them look like preferreds. Premier Inc., this is an interesting stock. Premier Inc. supplies hospitals. They make money on volume. If you think hospital volume is going to be increasing, they could be big winners. They don't care who your insurance company is because the hospital's got to take care of you. Here is a horrible day in the stock market, and Premier is, there you go, I just updated Premier, is having a nice day. I may get off and look at Premier, come back, there you go. The downside is in a horrible drop, but it does have a new John Person buy signal. Its PMC has been going up despite the market selling off. It had a pocket pivot. I'm going to put a check mark on this one, and I'm going to go look at it and I'll be off this before the market closes. I'm not going to look at the others. I look at these near weekly support. Well, there aren't any. With weekly buy, there aren't any just because we've been in such a bad market. Trilogy buys, there are none of those. HCD dailies, boy, there was about 65 earlier today. We're down to just a few, and you can see which ones have a new PBS buy signal today as well. This is a preferred. Again, I'm not going to chase it. Here's that Premier PINC. That's what it looks like. Premier Inc. Class A. All right, Premier Inc. PINC. That looks very, very interesting to me. I have been looking earlier at some of the tankers. They've fallen off the positive list, but the one I liked, I don't see here. It must have taken a hit. Is it DHK? DKH. All right, so what I might do is I might go here on the tankers. I'm going to change the industry group, and I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to look at all of them. I don't know why it should be showing it to me. Oh, it's because I still got, never mind, I think it was, well, I'll have to go back and look at it. But go back here to industry, to all securities. Oh, you know what? I probably killed it on my filter. But anyways, I like to look through these to see if I can find any stocks that look buyable. If I look at person weekly buys, boy, but we don't see a lot of those. We have 4. There it is, DHT Holdings. That was the shipping company that I thought was interesting, a new weekly buy. When I looked at it before, I was concerned about the 50-day moving average, and you could see it's running right into it. If I was interested in some of my favorite buys, HTC weekly and a PPS buy within 2 days, there's nothing here. Now, I built corresponding short scans here. Daily sells, there's 405. LCD daily news, there's, 673. And weekly low close dojis and a sell within 2 days, there's 185. If I wanted to chase this thing lower, and we're now down 1,400 points, so we've given up some of the recent gains, I might consider looking down this list. The other thing that I put together and the person users have access to is a new warehouse system here where I look at pullbacks and an uptrend. Some of my favorites are uptrend near the 20-day SMA. There were still 66. That's how bad this market is. Uptrend being defined, its price is above the 200, and the 50-day moving average is greater than the 200, and the price is within 2% of that 20-day moving average. If I look at these that are in a Forex squeeze, I could see I've got 35. So there might be things in here that are interesting. Some of these are up today, but I'm going to look for some that may have a person buy signal. Here's mobile breakout, kahuna squeeze. There are none. Unfortunately, today, this is a bad market. We're not going to find any with good buy signals. I could look at prices moving above their stop. So this is chandelier flip to buy. I had 44 of these. So if I look at any of these, what you will see is here is the chandelier stop from yesterday. And today it is crossed above that. So that is a scan that I use to find stocks that might be breaking out. Make sure, okay, it's closed. So that was one that looked I won't say it looks interesting, it just met my scan parameters. It doesn't have a PBS signal or any of the other bullish signals that I look like. If you don't think coronavirus is bad, the Ivy League just canceled all spring sports. Holy shamoli, as one of my friends used to say, or one of my bosses. I could go down here and look for bulls or new signals. You're not going to find them. This is a acquisition vehicle. It's all over the place. So I just wanted to show you that on a bullish day, I'd find you some things to actually buy. But that's how I use my scans intraday, top down, bottoms up, looking at the markets. The only stock that we saw that I thought was buyable was Pink. I'm going to go do some analysis on it. We'll see you later. Please let me know if you like these intraday updates. And also, if you are a person owner or want to be a person owner, now's the time because we have that closed webinar tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.